Hey everyone, welcome back to another Mevo Live. I'm Joe Capehart. I am the lead technical specialist here at Mevo, and today we have a really exciting live show for you. If you are a returning viewer, you may have noticed that our schedule recently changed. We are now doing 2 live shows a week. On Tuesday, it's you get two of us, maybe three, it depends, and we do more of a covering the updates, go over some questions and Q&A, and then our Thursday show is more of our Mevo Live, which is where we get advanced. And today is the most advanced show that we have done up to this point. You're going to have three of us today, and I'm joined by Joseph and Will, which I'll bring in here in a moment. And we are in three separate locations, all using Mevo Starts via NDI. We're using different platforms for streaming. I'm using Streamlabs. Joseph and Will are both using OBS. And then we're actually all using audio from Blue Microphone. We all have different microphone sources, I believe. I think I'm using a baby bottle and they're using something else. But we're going to get into it and show you how we accomplished today's show. As always, if you have any questions, be sure to put those in the chat. One of us would be more than happy to answer those live. But without further ado, I'm going to bring these two gentlemen in and we are going to get started. Hello and welcome, gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
Hey,
I was like, is anybody gonna say hello? Wow. So this took a lot of practice. So like we went about a week and a half without some shows, and now we have all three of us, three different locations using a new platform and VDO.ninja, and it took a lot of setup and a lot of like time. And obviously resources. I mean, before we were doing our test, if anyone doesn't know, we go live about or we do our test, we go live about an hour before our actual streams to make sure everything's good to go. And we ran into some hiccups, but tell us guys, what kind of setups are you using on your end? And we'll go ahead and start with Joseph. What do you got going on?
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. So the setup I have is similar to my normal show. I have my Mevo coming in NDI into OBS, and that is being sent from OBS back to this VDO.ninja service that we're using today. I also have my audio coming in through this mixer. So when I pull up this mixer, I can pull this up in OBS at my local location, and then we can also broadcast this out to you via VDO. So what's cool about this is now I have the blue microphone, which is the blue Bluebird, and this is being going in XLR to channel one, which is right here. So this is going to be a similar setup to what you guys have as well. Um, and then channel one is being sent to from here directly to the back of my Mevo Start. So this is where having the Mevo camera really benefits this type of setup. It's because I can go directly through the 3.5 millimeter input on the back, and I can send that signal perfectly synced through OBS out to you guys in the stream.
So, Joseph, can you tell me, like, what is the difference between our microphones, and like, why would you want to use something like this from like Blue opposed to maybe a lavalier or something like that for a setup? I know a lot of people really enjoy lavalier microphones, but now they've been seeing us using. I mean, we went from using lavaliers at the beginning of Mevo Live months ago, and then we went into an SM7B, and now we're using these Blue microphones. And like, tell our users why would we want to use Blue or these specific types of microphones opposed to what we've been using in the past?
Absolutely. So yeah, let's get into it. So if we go into, uh, well, let me get rid of that and go into my slides here. So when we're looking at different microphones, there's different options. So for example, this is a USB microphone. What we're using today is, let's go back to the blue. This is the condenser microphone. So really the reason why you'd want to use these type of microphones is just better quality audio. So if you're using a lavaliers are very what's the word I'm looking for? I guess situationally based, right? So if it's something where you need a wireless connection to your Mevo, if you don't have the ability to run cables or anything like that, lavs work great. So you can just hook up a lav to somebody. They have a close mic's proximity, so they don't have to worry so much about outside noise or room noise or anything like that. And what we want to do here is really give you the best possible audio we can. So which is why we're using these blue microphones. They're very warm condenser microphones, and they pick up the vocals very well. They're also running XLR and being sent to mixers. So as I showed you before, I have control over what my mic can sound like now in this method, right? So I have an EQ, which is these blue knobs right here. I have some effects if I wanted to do effects. Here, I can show you some real quick on that. Turn my noise suppressor off for a second. So let's say I want to do some type of weird delays or reverbs. I can kind of crank it up here to hear that. So it gives us a little bit more options as far as how audio is being sent to your stream. If you want to use just the Mevo mic on the Mevo internal mics, you can absolutely do that as well. So it's just really right. What's your situation call for? What type of environment are you in? Is there a lot of surrounding noise? Are you in a quiet environment? That all dictates what mic you should be using.
Yeah, and we'll cover a little bit about more about how you can take advantage of these types of microphones, and for those remote productions, or maybe like a one-on-one, or when someone's more mobile, I guess, and you don't want to be constrained with a cable. We'll talk a little bit more about like why you would want to use a lavalier for those specific situations, but we found that these blue microphones have been wonderful for us for our live shows. We've got them here at the set. We've got a couple over here, and now we all have them at home as well. But without further ado, Will, tell us more about your specific setup. Now that we've covered Joseph, it is your turn, my friend.
Awesome. So let's see. First off, I'm using a Mevo Start that is connected using the Mevo Power over Ethernet adapter to my PoE switch. And so that's powering it and also transferring the NDI signal that is then going into my MacBook Pro, which is running regular OBS. And I have an iPad set up as well, so I can show you the Multicam app. So if you have any questions for that, how that works, and you can see a little bit more of my setup here if I move around different cameras. And I am also using a Bluebird microphone as well. So yeah, that is my setup, and we're using this great VDO.ninja, which Joe will have to get really deep into because it's really, really cool.
Yeah, it's really nice because like we were actually playing with it a little bit. Every time we try and we talk about Video Ninja, if no one's familiar with it, it was previously called OBS Ninja, and it's allowing us to bring in sources. So each of them are bringing their OBS source, specifically outputting NDI from OBS. And then Video Ninja is taking that source and sending it using WebRTC, which is basically a real time video protocol, which is like there is no delay. I'm telling you, like, it is basically like you're in a Zoom call, but you can get up to 4K, 60 FPS. Of course, we're using 1080p, 30 FPS, but we're bringing anyone in, and it was actually really neat. You can actually use a service like this. Let me see if I can get this configured and kind of show you a little bit about why this is neat for Mevo users. And let me see, can I do this without actually? Yes, I can. Wonderful. Okay, so there is a thing over here. I know you can't see just yet, but you will in a moment. It allows you to like bring in and have full blown conversations and and talk about like bringing like a mobile device, right? You don't have to be at a computer to use a service like this. And I'm struggling to find the control room to show it. Where is this thing? Here's what it looks like from my point of view. Maybe OBS is not wanting to cooperate whatsoever. But if you don't know what Video Ninja is, go to check it out. It's VDO, literally VDO.ninja, and it allows you to bring in audio sources. You're basically holding a real time, a real time solution. Well, I am just breaking things. This is why I don't use that point. Great. So you can use a real-time solution and essentially bring everyone in, whether it's their Mevo via USB or via NDI, whether you're outputting a virtual camera via OBS, Livestream Studio, vMix, Ecamm, and you can output it and bring in alternative sources. Outside of that, let's see here. Yeah, let's go to. We're gonna go to check-ins. We're gonna go to questions in a moment. But what's really neat is we can have full-blown conversations in the background. So right now you only see me, but the other two individuals, Will and Joseph, are in what is called like a green room. So I can hear them, they can send me messages, and we can make adjustments on the fly without anyone even knowing they're occurring. And then I can bring them back in. Now, I really want to show you what this looks like. Unfortunately, OBS is not being very cooperative. Oh, there's the other two gentlemen. It's not being very cooperative. It's not finding that source for me. Oh, here we go. There we go. I do not want to show that though. There we go. That is cropped. That is not what I want. let me go ahead and move this over just a bit. Why is it every time we switch browser sources, things like this occur? The cropping is never correct. Okay, so basically this is kind of what VDO.ninja looks like. Oh, and I'd pull you guys off screen, but I don't want to mess up the cropping anymore. It's kind of painful. But basically, I can adjust scenes using something like VDO.ninja. So, for example, right now I've got Joseph down here. He is in scene 2. If I remove him, just like that, and I can put myself, if I like to see myself over and over again, put me in scene 2. I can remove Will from scene 3 and put me in scene 3 as well. I can move everybody around accordingly, and we can have multiple different angles. So let's add him back. Oh, that's not what I want. Scene 3, and we'll put Will back in scene 2. I'm going to guess that I probably messed this up by the time we go back. But basically, all of this stuff is happening in real time. I can modify all of these things, mute them, send them messages. Like we have a little conversation down here, and we can kind of just tell each other as the flow of the show goes on, if we're running into some issues or not. And also, we also can manage all the different types of issues that could occur here. We've got audio settings with noise suppression, just like OBS, video settings. So like I said, we're all using NDI, and I can also see their video settings. We've got NDI and things over there as well, and also their audio settings. So it's really cool. We've got a program out here. So basically this is what you all are seeing, and I want the guest, which is Will and Joseph, to see the same thing. Now this can get extremely complicated. It really can get extremely complicated. Like I said, we spent probably the last 2 weeks going over setting this up. Now, when it comes to live streaming, if it matters to you, you want to test, and ensure that you are ready for the stream. Now, the reason that we even converted to a system like this, and we are all remote, is because we were running into some networking issues here locally, which were kind of out of our scope. We didn't have access to the full network that we were using. If you don't know, we are located in New Lab in Brooklyn, and basically New Lab is a building where tons of startups, tons of companies come, we rent space, and we all share networks. Unfortunately, we recommend using Mevo on a dedicated network. When it comes to that, we were running into some issues where we were getting some NDI issues, and we finally got those solved. And then next thing you know, we're having bitrate and bandwidth issues. So we had to halt the shows and come up with an alternative solution. So the solution was, if we run into issues with the live show and we can't do them here, or we can't have multiple people here for whatever reason it may be, we could technically host Mevo Live from any location by using a system like VDO.ninja. And then, of course, my my team members here. I pulled Joseph up, and see, look, I got him switched around right now. I got Will over Joseph, and I've got Joseph over Will. We need to switch this around. So we've got you at scene 2. We're going to send you to scene 3 and remove him from scene 3 and send him to scene 2. Problem solved.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah. So I mean, it seems like a pretty complicated system, but it's really not that difficult. And I know you guys are really enjoying the chat feature right now, which is pretty awesome, right? You guys are just blowing
Yeah.
us up.
What I like about the system, yeah, Joe, what I like about the system is just it's so open, and we can really run productions remotely. And like you said, the chat system is great, so we can correct each other. We can look out for mistakes or look out for things that we need to change on the fly. And though it may be a little bit complicated, similar, some people think the Mevo is complicated, but once you start to learn it and once you start to use it, it just becomes so much easier. And then once things start making sense, right, like you switching, making sure that the right view is in the right area and stuff like that. It's a really very useful tool.
Yeah, it's been wonderful. And I like, we were talking, it said some people were talking about volume being low, and like, we seen the conversation between you and Will. Like, I checked Facebook, I checked YouTube, seems like the volume's great. So like, we can have all of these behind the scenes production conversations without seeming awkward, and like, you have all of that access available to you. And I mean, one really cool thing is VDO.ninja's free. It's completely free. If you've not heard of it, they got a great Discord. The person who's developed it, Steve, has been wonderful. He's helped us out and answered a lot of questions. And Mevo, with the flexibility that Mevo offers, it's compatible. Once again, you can use Mevo with a lot of things, whether it's OBS, straight up NDI. You can use it with Ecamm, Livestream Studio. I think the name of the game, and I think it's often it can complicate some things because it's so open and so available, and you can use it with so many different platforms. It seems more complicated, but at the end of the day, it really solves um, the familiarization. If you're comfortable with the platform already, we're not trying to recreate the wheel. We want you to be able to take your Mevo and use it with what you're comfortable with. And this is just one more example of how you can just do that. Oh, okay. Let's go into some questions. I'm assuming you guys have some questions up already. My screen real estate is rather taken over. So
I got you covered.
whoever's
I got you covered.
perfect. Let's get some questions then.
All right, I'm gonna hop into Facebook first, and it looks like it says the first question is from Jonathan. General question: is there a developer API or SDK to enable integration and third-party integration, possibly for the Mevo? As of right now, no. But if you guys can expand on that.
Sure. So I know in the past, like years and years and years and years ago, it was a topic of conversation. This was even before I worked here, so it was a while away. Um, it just anybody who's been following Mevo, it's kind of changed hands from live stream to, and that was when the conversation was actually occurring for like an SDK. So that was when live stream owned Mevo. Then it's been the Vimeo, and then the Mevo, and then we just keep going, right? Unfortunately, through all of that, the SDK project or concept has kind of disappeared. In time, maybe it comes back. Who knows? It really just kind of depends on the path that Mevo takes. I've not heard conversations about it in quite some time. But like I think it'd be cool. I mean, I like to do programming. I'm a programmer. That's a hobby of mine. That's what I went to school for. So I would love to see one. But I also think that Mevo Mevo's already very feature rich. So like there's not a ton that you would really be able to do that you can't already accomplish. But I totally get some developers wanting to create specific niche tools for themselves. And I mean, we aim to please. So I wouldn't rule it out. I just know that's not a conversation that I've been a part of, and I've not heard anyone talking about it in a long time. So, but at this time, no, we
Sweet.
don't have
Definitely
one.
would be cool though.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, like I on my stream deck, I had like an animation, so it'd be kind of cool to kind of like output the video of Mevo onto my stream deck. I don't know why I would ever do
That'd
it,
be
but it
awesome.
kind of seems like something I would. I don't know. I'm weird. I'm weird like that.
All right. So how about Will? Julie says she wants to live stream her Taekwondo dojo. And she wants to know
Awesome.
if she can use a Mevo Start with a MacBook Pro through an Eero. Now you have experience with the Eero. How would that work?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm using an Eero Pro 6 right now. And yeah, you could do that either using the wireless webcam on Mac. That's probably the easiest. But you can also connect over NDI as well. So it really depends on like the kind of network that you have and how stable it is and everything like that. But also another good option is wired webcam. You can do up to about 15 feet with USB connections. So yeah, definitely doable. Three methods to do it. But probably wireless webcam would be the best bet.
Seems simple
Sweet.
enough.
Yeah. All right. Looks like we have some rolling into YouTube as well.
Love it.
Jack says, is YouTube RTMP S supported on Mevo RTMP streaming?
Hundred
Not sure if you
percent.
meant to put the S there, but RTMPS, yeah.
Yeah, so Mevo supports RTMP and RTMPS. So there's no change in how you would input it. The Mevo already detects that you're putting in, a secured or an unsecured one. So whether it's RTMP or RTMPS, it'll process it without an issue. By the way, I'm
Fantastic.
a big advocate of RTMP. By the way, love it. Don't I? If I can push everyone to use RTMP, I would. You just run into a lot less issues. I mean, that's what we're using right now.
Yeah. I
Every
mean,
time we go live,
let me
we
ask you,
we use RTMP.
why is that now? With API and stuff like that, you may run into more, I guess, on the other end issues. Like if it's a Facebook API, Facebook might have their own coding issues and stuff like that. Whereas you're running
100%.
RTMP, it's more direct, right?
Yeah, so I mean, an RTMP server rarely ever gets modified, where an API absolutely gets modified, and most likely, and I don't know the infrastructure of what's going on specifically for Facebook. But like when it comes to their APIs, when they make modifications to them, it can break things, and we have to kind of adjust. We've got to adapt, and we've got to make sure that the Mevo app is prepared for any kind of API changes that Facebook may integrate. And that's not just Facebook; that goes with YouTube, Twitch, whatever it may be. If an API is modified, we have to adapt our app to be able to do this, to be able to work with it. And then another thing is, if an API fails, which is not unheard of. I mean, I've worked here since early 2019, and I've seen Facebook's API completely go down 3 times, and it was absolute chaos. But it didn't go down, and that's usually RTMP. So that's one big thing I highly recommend if you're not using RTMP to go and check that out, because the RTMP servers rarely get modified. They don't usually get changed or anything like that. Although I say that, and Facebook just changed their way their RTMP keys look, the format of them, and we had to address that as well on our end. They went from like a randomly generated one, and now they all have a prefix of FB. So I do say RTMP really gets modified, but then we have a change like that. But I think that's the only change I've seen in 3 years from Facebook's RTMP, and YouTube's RTMP has been solid. And I mean, every time you see us go live, almost every time we always use the RTMP functions. But I mean, it really depends. I get it. APIs are easier for some rather than others. So I totally get it. But it kind of goes with the whole topic of the show, is kind of like we have an alternative. Like we could be here on set in the office, or we could be remote. I mean, we've got a backup plan. And I think everyone should too. Like, even if you're an API user, I would 100% make sure you're configured for RTMP. If an API goes wrong, you can jump to RTMP and go live. So I highly recommend that to anybody, honestly.
I think that's great advice. Well, let's keep going. The questions are rolling in, guys.
I love
So it says, hey, Will, can we use the Mevo with StreamYard?
Yeah, you can definitely use the Mevo with StreamYard. It looks like the Royal Perspective is asking if you can use Multicam with StreamYard, and that you cannot do. But you can definitely use multiple Mevos going into your computer, going into OBS or StreamYard. Yeah, using virtual cam. But yeah, you can't use Multicam direct into StreamYard.
With that being said, we do have plans to change that. If you're not aware, if you go to Mevo.com right now, you can actually see we have upcoming changes and updates that we have planned, whether it's NDI, webcam support, things like that. Those things are coming to Multicam. It's really a matter of when, but I think you guys can be pretty optimistic that as soon as we can deliver it to you, we will. So, that limitation is a right now answer. Will's 100%. He's 100% right. That is 100% accurate right now. But if you're watching this video in the future, or I would definitely check out webcam mode for multicam. It's coming, so definitely be ready for that, and you'll be able to accomplish the same thing going from multicam to wireless webcam. So, and just keep an eye out for it. What we got? We have more?
Yeah, we got a ton more. So Fred the Hippo.
Welcome
Fred,
back.
We missed
Fred.
you, Fred. We missed you.
Yeah, our live shows, we cancel these things, and it's like you get afraid to lose your regulars. Love the regulars.
So he has a couple questions. His first question is, can we please get folders for Mevo graphics? I think that's a great idea. What do you guys think about that?
I also agree, and I think that free flow movement, or free movement where you can like adjust them by your like what I can't think of an app off the top of my head, but like where you can just like hold your finger down and I mean, I guess any app, right? Apple, Android,
much,
any you can adjust your apps by just dragging or holding and dragging. I think that would be wonderful for both Mevo 2.0 and Multicam. So I can assure you that we will 100%, and I keep saying 100%, and but anyways, I guess I just have a very limited vocabulary today, but we will absolutely make sure the team hears your opinion, because I'm 100. There we go again. I almost said it again. I am on board with that suggestion.
All right, and Fred has another one. It looks like it's
users that use a lot of graphics.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
That's true.
Yeah, so for like baseball.
That's an excellent point. Yeah. So it looks like Fred has another one for me. It says, I noticed that sometimes there is a prominent buzzing sound for about 20 seconds during my live stream. Any ideas as to why or how this fix this? I'd assume it's a mixer interface problem. Fred, I'll be honest with you, it really depends on the sound. I would maybe open up a ticket with us and send us an example of it. If it's only lasting, if it's if it's starting up at 20 seconds every time, then there's definitely some type of reoccurring issue going on. If it's only happening intermittently and then it stops, it could be cell phone interference. So it really depends on the sound. Cell phone interference is pretty distinct when it comes to audio. It kind of sounds like a buzzing or a clicking, and usually lasts about 20 seconds or so, maybe less, depending on how your phone is ringing or if you're receiving a text message or an email or something like that. Um, so that's the first thing I would think of. The next thing I would think of, if you don't think it's that, is just double check all your cables. And the way to do that is just take an audio player, iPhone, Android phone, whatever, plug it in through your mixer, and just replace cables and just and see if you can recreate it or not recreate it. Take it from there. But if you have an example and you want to send that to us, we can take a listen to it. It's help.mevo.com for those who don't know. If you do send us a ticket there, it's either Joe, or myself. Um, will be in there, to address that. So if you can give us an example, that'd be the best way to go for that one.
I
Cool.
don't know about you all, but I am having a lot of fun with this. This show is fun. I'm having a good time. The switching, the messaging. It's been a long time since we've had we really changed things up. So I'm having a good time. I don't know about you all.
No, this is great.
Uh, yeah, yeah. Let's keep
That's
them
actually a
coming.
great. Yeah, that's a great transition. So the Paris. Let's see if I can get this right. Periscopio. Oh, so it's for Periscope Consulting. How are you producing your live show with the Mevo Mo? Are you? I'm sorry. Are you producing with the Multicam app right now? Looks awesome. Well, we aren't right now, but we do have some cool things to talk about with Multicam, and I'm
Yeah,
gonna put Will on the spot.
yeah. Will, you wanna show us how we could accomplish a similar setup using multicam?
Yeah. So let's see. So with multicam, you could, let me turn on my overlay here. So obviously you could have 3 individual cameras pointed at each person. You can't do it remote the way that we're doing right now, but you could actually use the multicam app to use VDO.ninja, which is what we're using right now, by broadcasting via RTMP. You can go to live. Maybe. There we go. Yeah, you can go to RTMP and you can actually RTMP directly to your computer if you set up an RTMP server. And so then you can bring it into OBS. And we actually have an OBS, multicam OBS article that goes through step by step how to do that. And then you can bring it into VDO.ninja there. And yeah, so pretty easy to set up. Multicam, obviously, you can have 3 microphone sources also going into the multicam app, and you can have all of those active like we have right now. Um, so yeah, there's a lot of really cool things that you can do with multicam to have it a very similar experience. And of course, you can do overlay graphics like we have the lower thirds right now with our names on them. And so that's really easy to do. And then turn that on. There you go. So yeah, you can maybe not do exactly what we're doing right now, but very, very close. And if you wanted to, you could bring all 3 cameras from multicam into OBS and then use VDO.ninja to do all the rest of it.
Yes. No, I don't know if it's been a while since we've done a show, but if you are part of the Mevo customer group or part of any of our other groups, we did do a recent poll asking users what they wanted us to demo. This was specifically one of them, but a lot of users wanted us to go remote and do some really cool things. So be on the lookout for advanced production, or from a basic setup to an advanced production, whether we're using Mevo 2.0 multicam or something more advanced like this. We are going to go on site and do some locations like you did recommend, House of Worship. We've seen sports, we've seen podcasts. We absolutely want to do this as a team and go and do broadcasts and show you, how we would go about setting something up, whether it's lighting, audio, what tool do we need for the job? Because, for example, like if we were going to do a single setup or a single camera setup, we wouldn't need all of this. We wouldn't need VDO.ninja. We wouldn't need OBS. We wouldn't need NDI. We wouldn't need all of that. We could use Mevo 2.0, get overlays, and do a lot of really cool things with that. You know, if we need multiple different scenes, we don't necessarily need something complex. We can absolutely do a multicam solution, which with the multicam solution, I guess it's a perfect time right now is to kind of discuss multicam. I know Will just covered it a little bit, but did you know that we offer a 3-pack right now? We have a 3-pack that is currently available. I'm going to go ahead and pull that overlay up. This 3-pack is currently available on Mevo.com. I want to go ahead and see if I can bring into scene 1. There we go. Let's go back over to him. Yeah, you do need to speak, Joseph, because the audio is, or the overlays for you. So yeah, so let's go back over to that overlay, and Joseph can tell you all about the 3-pack.
No problem, Joe. I got your back. So we're looking at the Mevo Start 3-pack here. This is available exclusively at Mevo.com for US customers currently. Basically, with this pack, you get a 3-pack of Mevos. It's on sale right now. I think believe the way the math works out on the sale, it's about buy 2 get 1 half off kind of thing, which is really fantastic. And it gives you that option to pair with that multicam app in order to use multiple cameras, multiple angles, and get a little bit more out of whatever production you're trying to do.
Absolutely. And outside of, so this is exclusively at Mevo.com right now. Typically, this is where we would also talk about our referral program. Does anyone have an overlay ready for that one? I love being able to just hand this stuff off to you guys. We have the audio show with, yeah, there we go. Yeah, we can use this overlay. So we have the referral.
All right, so this is from my audio show graphic. I didn't get a chance to swap it over to Mevo Live, but it's the same thing. I mean, so you could save your friends or family 5% on their purchase of a Mevo product, and also gain 5% on your end too as part of a commission program. So if you go to mevo.com/referral or mevo.com/refer, and again, this is available in the US only, and that's 5% friends and family purchases, and then a 5% commission kickback on your end.
Lots of really cool stuff going on at Mevo.com. If you were unaware, we actually have the 3-pack currently in stock. The single Mevo Start is in stock. I mean, I think a lot of things actually came back in stock. I want to go to Mevo.com and just check right now because I know we're updating this almost hourly as things become available or unavailable. So we do have the 3-packs available, the Mevo Start's available, the PoE is available, the Mevo Start case is available. You can get those all right now at Mevo.com and take advantage of things like that. Before we do we have any other questions we need to get into, or
We got a ton.
pretty much? Oh, geez,
We got a
let's
lot.
just keep going. You know, the goal of
Yeah,
these
we can keep
shows is,
going.
you know, we can demo stuff all day, we can answer questions all day, and that's what we want to do. So if you enjoy interacting with us, definitely keep coming back and letting us know. The more you come back, the more we'll make sure we're going live for you. So yeah, let's get into more.
Cool. So we have a round of multicam questions here. So let's get ready
Ooh,
for those.
Sweet.
So a royal perspective says, will the Mevo Multicam increase the amount of cameras to more than 3 in the future?
So I've said it before, and I'll say it again. It's definitely something that I'm pushing for. I was able to demo once on the multicam show, connecting, I think it was 6 cameras, 6 Mevos. And so it does work really, really well in some of the sort of developer builds that we're working with. And so hopefully we'll be able to bring more cameras to you very, very soon. I really, really want that because it's a lot more
Yeah,
fun. More Mevos,
no,
the
100.
better, right?
I agree. I agree. And I think the big hang up with that, and I know we've all talked about it offline, you know, in the office and whatnot. The big hang up is not all devices can support more than 3. So I think, like, you know, we've got to find a way to kind of meet in the middle and be like, you know, um, check devices or cross check devices and be like, hey, this device meets requirements. You should be able to run X amount of cameras, but we don't have a check like that in place. So, right now having 3 is kind of like a safe land for everyone. We know that if you can download the app, you should be able to run 3. And that's pretty it's pretty important to be able to know, not all devices can run more than 3. Not all devices will run 3 well. So we've got to make sure we're when people go and buy a 3 pack that they know that they can run it, which is why we have app requirements. But the last thing we want is someone to go buy 2 3 packs and find out they can't run all 6. So we've got to meet people halfway and find out what devices run things well. And then I think that's where we can really sit down and have the conversation of, all right, how are we going to cross check devices? Are they able to do this? If so, how are we going to be able to enforce and make sure users are aware of what their device can handle? Because all of this stuff is happening on the Multicam app. All of the encoding happens in Multicam. It doesn't happen in the Mevo, like the Mevo 2.0 app. So your mobile device is getting extremely taxed compared to other configurations.
Awesome.
Ooh.
So we have a couple more here. It says, I vote yes on the field demo event. That would be amazing, guys. Thanks. We got you on that for sure. And this one is interesting. This is from Dr. McFarland Studios. I'm going to the NAM show tomorrow. Can I use my Mevo to live stream from the trade show floor as long as I'm connected to their Wi-Fi? Now, there are some caveats to using an event Wi-Fi. So maybe, Joe,
Oh
you can
yeah.
expand on that.
Oh yeah. So one of the biggest things when it comes to using a Mevo or any device on a public network, like we were talking about, this network we run here, we didn't have any control over. So we ran into some issues and we weren't able to solve them on our own because we didn't have full access to it. Same thing when you're going to use public Wi-Fi, whether it's a guest network, or whether it's a corporate network, whether you're at a hotel, a convention center. Um, these typically have restrictions in place to protect the guests that are using it. And that means, isolating, commonly known as API isolation, peer-to-peer communication, things like that are in place in these types of networks to stop devices from finding each other or communicating. So for example, I take this Mevo Start and I've got this iPad here and they're on the same public network. And when I open the app, it can see the Mevo, right? But when I try to press connect, it doesn't work. Why? Because the network does not allow the communication. The iPad actually discovered the Mevo via Bluetooth. It's using Bonjour to get all of that information, but it can't connect via Bluetooth. It connects via Wi-Fi. It's only getting the data to connect via Bluetooth. So it does see it in the app, but when I go and press connect, it doesn't work because the network is restricting it and not allowing those 2 devices to communicate. That's the kind of experience you could expect from going to like a conference center, a guest network, Starbucks, McDonald's, things like that. Now, there are travel routers and modems out there that will allow you to accomplish what you're trying to accomplish. And give you full access to the network. The problem with those is typically they run off of 4G, 5G LTE, which means you're using a cellular service, which also can be affected, especially at conference centers where more and more people are overloading the nearby towers that your cellular provider is giving you. So bandwidth is going to be drained a little bit more. And I'm not to scare you. I want to give you realistic expectations when you go to a conference or go to use public Wi-Fi. You really need to ensure that you're testing. Maybe look at some bonding solutions so you can bring in multiple networks and use bonding. We don't have an article on that just yet. Maybe we will if that's something everyone would be interested in. But when you're trying to use a public network, whether it's like a conference center or something, you could probably and most likely could run into some issues with stability, speeds, bandwidth, and just overall communication between multiple devices. So if you do have a connection at the location you're going to, see if they can provide you some access a day before. That way you can go do some tests and see if you're going to run into any conflicts. And if so, maybe you have a network administrator there. You can make some requests to. So that's definitely something to take in consideration. It's a great question. And unfortunately, there are a lot of obstacles to run through when you're using a network you don't have control over. Whew,
Very cool.
it's always a good
So-
one for me, but it's exhausting.
Yeah, I mean, it's a complicated question because there's complicated features, right? So
100%.
we
I
got a
always need
bunch.
drinks after. I always need water after this. I talk and I can go on forever about these things, but I mean, I guess that's why it's my job, right? It's because I can talk forever.
All right, let's see if we can rapid fire some of these because they're coming in hot. So
Go.
I'm floating over to Facebook. And Julie says, "Are there any other webcams that use iPhone apps to control remotely?" To be honest, Julie, I have no idea, and I don't think so. And you guys, I mean, I don't want to
What
inadvertently
is it?
promote anybody, but I
Mevo.
really don't think
Julie,
there
are
is.
there any
Yeah.
other webcam apps that can use iPhone apps to control? No idea. Oh, like basically
Yeah.
like Mevo. Is that what they're asking? Like, can I? Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I have no clue.
This is
Yeah.
a Mevo live show, so
Yeah.
This is
there's
fair.
that
This
too.
is fair. Yeah, no, I have no idea. I'm unaware of any kind of device similar to Mevo. I mean, that's what makes Mevo different. So
I mean, it's one of the
sorry,
things that
Julie.
actually drew me to this company for sure. Is just the uniqueness of it. So yeah. Okay. Any future plans to add SRT to Mevo?
I've heard, I, mm, it's popped up a couple of times in conversation, but I haven't heard about it in a long time. So, I mean, we don't rule anything out typically with Mevo. Everything's on the table. You know, if you were a member or around 2 years ago, NDI wasn't a conversation. So, I mean, I would never rule anything out because we do introduce things like Mevo was never a webcam. Now it's a webcam. It was never NDI enabled.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's NDI enabled. So, you know, I can tell you right now that if it's on a timeline somewhere, I've not seen it. But once again, I'm not in every single conversation. So somebody somewhere may be conjuring up something cool, and I won't get to see it until, or we won't be able to see it until we actually have a build in our hands. So as it stands right now, I'm unaware of anything or any plans to make that happen. Good question, though.
This is an interesting question from Greg here. This is for Will. He says, "Does the multicam support Mevo Plus when using a mixer for sound?" So I want to break this one down a little bit. I'm assuming he means if you have three cams, one of them's a Mevo Plus, but you have your mixer going to one of the starts, maybe, or if you're going directly to the Mevo Plus. I think either way, yeah. I mean, you could tell us on that.
Yep, I think you're muted, buddy.
Sorry about that.
Muted you.
How's that? Better? All right. So yeah, sorry, there was a fire engine outside my window. Yeah, so if you have audio coming from uh your audio mixer into one of your Mevo starts, then you can use that audio even if you're using the Mevo Plus. So the audio that you set up in the multicam app will be is independent from what you're switching to. You can also connect your audio mixer to your Mevo Plus using the Mevo Mic app. You just need to set that up first in the Mevo 2.0 app, and then it'll carry over into the Multicam app. So those are two good ways to bring in that audio using Mevo Plus. Unfortunately, that is really the one of the major downsides with the Plus versus using the Start is the Start has so many options for bringing in audio. You could do USB-C, you could be doing 3.5 millimeter TRS audio, and of course you can use Mevo Mic. So not to upsell you to a Start, but wouldn't be the worst idea.
Oh, I just got. Sorry about that. I broke it. I'm breaking stuff. Yeah, where are you at? You are. You are missing. Oh, here we go. I think that's why I found it. How did I do that? How did mistakes like this happen? Anyways, there he is. Okay. Will, he actually did chime in and he said that he's only using a Mevo Plus and the audio is routed through the iPad. Thoughts?
So unfortunately, in that situation, you cannot bring in audio through the iPad. You could use a secondary device like Mevo Mic, but right now in the Mevo Multicam app, it cannot bring in audio through the device itself. Yeah.
And although it's worked very well in the past, I'm not gonna I've always recommended to avoid running audio through your mobile device if you have the option to not do that. But I get it. Plus users do not have a 3.5. Totally understand it. Now, I do see some Start users who still want to do this, and I advise against it because if you think about it, your mobile network, say your mobile device loses connection to the network, now you have no audio. So it's just like, it's just one of those variables you can eliminate with the Mevo Start. So once again, not to upsell, like Will said, but I'd get a Mevo Start. It's just like
But it's hard not to, right? It's hard
it
not to.
really is. I mean, the Mevo
Yeah.
Start was designed to correct a lot of the things, or correct a lot of the things and requests that users had, and that was a big one. And so when we see people using Mevo Start and they're not using audio directly, then it's just like it's just not a good. I mean, I don't know. What works for some people, but when it comes to something you care about, like if your stream's important to you, I say the same thing for networks. If your stream's important and your audio is important and your video is important, you should hardwire everything you can. Everything you can. Like there's just no reason to
For sure.
gamble if you don't have to, is what it comes down to. All right.
Yeah,
I
and
know
I guess
you
the
said
way
we were
around
supposed
that
to
problem too.
go ahead.
Sorry,
Sorry.
I was just gonna say is if he had a USB mixer, right? Wouldn't
Mhm.
that be able to work with the Plus? And then that would kind of solve that issue, right? So that eliminates the need for that 3.5 millimeter input. You don't have to buy a new camera if you don't want to, but you would need to use the appropriate mixer. So there's ways around it. The better way, like everyone's saying, is maybe just upgrade to the Start, just so you have those options available to you. But if that's not an option, if you can get your hands on a USB mixer, go direct into the Mevo Plus. Again, now we're looking at battery life and things like that. That just might present more problems, but it's a way to get audio in.
Yep, there's a lot of weird ways that you can use those USB ports, whether it's direct to the Plus or through a boost. There's a lot of really cool ways and adapters you can use to get more out of it. But once again, like Joseph had mentioned, then you start running into battery life complications and things like that. So it's more of a hack to accomplish some of these things using these third-party adapters. But it might just save you some headache and some time if you just went with a Start. But once again, we're not trying to upsell you. All right, I know we're supposed to be going fast here, so let's just keep on going if we can. Sorry.
Sure. Yeah, I got one for me. This is Pastor Jean Perry. Hey, listen, I like the FaceTime. He just says how to connect the Mevo multiple cameras into a soundboard he's using for his church services. So this really depends on your setup. Again, if we're talking multicam, really the only thing you need to do is just go out of your soundboard, and let me pop my mixer back on so I can kind of give you a visual of what this looks like. All right, so if your soundboard's here, you can go out of your control out, you can go out of your auxiliary out, you can go out of your main output, you can go out of your headphone output in most boards. Sending this signal to the 3.5 input on the back of the Mevo Start, if that's what you're using, or if you're using the Mevo Plus with a boost, there's a couple other methods you could use for that as well. But this would be the way you go. So if you're using the Multicam app, you only need to put this into one Mevo, right? Because that audio can then be the master audio for the overall production. So that would be the way you would do it if you're coming out of a soundboard. Cool. And let's see what else we got here. Well, Victor on YouTube is chiming into what Julie was talking about earlier, saying that he's looked for many other solutions here. He said he hasn't found anything that's even close to the Mevo as far as capability with the remote. This is for the question about other cameras with remotes on it. And he also says that NDI alone makes your cam amazing. So Victor is someone who definitely chimes in on most of our videos, and he's really into this stuff. He asks great questions. So Julie, if you're still watching, there's someone who doesn't work for us that's saying that how great the Mevo is. So that's nice. And it looks like we got one more from Ricardo. And it looks like it's a long one. I'm going to go through it. This is probably going to pull in both of you guys. So he says, "Hey guys, your number one fan from Puerto Rico. Ricardo, we love you.
We love you."
Is there a way to maintain NDI on using Multicam app? Well, we've kind of talked about that, but we'll get into it. I use 4 Mevo Starts, and each time I switch from the Multicam to OBS or vMix, I have to turn it off and turn it on again. The NDI function for each camera is what he's referencing. Is there a way to prevent Multicam to turn off NDI on each camera use? Now, Will, correct me if I'm wrong, but the reason why NDI is shutting off is because he's activating those cameras in the Multicam app, right? And you can't have both running.
Correct. Yeah. Can't have NDI on at the same time.
Yeah.
So simple answer there, really. It's just something that we are working on.
Yeah, I mean, NDI functionality in multicam is just not there. It's coming eventually. But yeah, I mean, if you're trying to control, here's what I would recommend. opposed to using multicam to control things, you're running NDI anyways. I would purchase a joystick and use New Tech Studio Monitor, and you can make all of your adjustments, your panning, your zooming, all through NDI instead of pulling out the app. You can also have like 4 different windows open. So if you had New Tech Studio Monitor open for each of your cameras, you just click on the window, use the joystick to make your adjustments, click on the next window, and you can do all of that through a computer opposed to trying to use multicam for it. Um, I mean, you're using NDI and vMix already, so you've got a powerful enough computer. You may also take advantage of all the functionalities that NDI offers, and that would be one of them. Okay.
Good suggestion.
Whoa, you good over there, Joseph? I'm seeing some
I
overlays.
wasn't I wasn't in studio mode. I was trying to prepare.
Oh, no worries, no worries. Um, I do see. Let's see here. Rob says, "FYI, I'm mixing a Mevo with a Sony MC88 camcorder. I was pleased to see that all the cameras matched up well with this camera because the Mevo uses a Sony sensor. Very nice. Yeah, I'm not familiar with that camcorder, so I'm glad it looks well or looks great. That's fantastic. All right, I'm gonna go over to YouTube real quick, double check, make sure things are good. Yeah, Victor saying some wonderful things over there, saying he has access to his network so he can modify all of those restrictions that people are used to seeing on those networks. His company also isolates devices. I mean, it's smart practice as a network person to do that, but definitely inconvenient for those who don't want to deal with it. So, anyways, looks like we are all wrapped up with our questions today. Didn't get into too much demoing, so hopefully you all come up with some really cool demo ideas for Tuesday's show. You'll get 2 or 3 of us. We will see when that time comes around. Let us know if you liked the show today. Let us know, what did you think of a 3-person show? What did you think of us talking about how we brought in sources? Let us know, did you like the audio quality? Let us know anything. We love the feedback. We want to make sure that we are adjusting the show to fit your needs, your desires. And first off, just thanks for tuning in. We love hanging out with you all. Thanks for asking your questions, and thanks just for being part of the Mevo family. Any final words from you all?
Not for me. I mean, this is a pretty exciting show. Like as you started in the open, we've been working at this for over a week now, and I'm just looking forward to doing more of these. I like being able to pick your guys' brains, especially if I'm doing something on my own. I don't really know what I'm gonna say or answer if I don't have the right answer. It's nice having both of you with me, and I'm sure it's nice for our viewers too. So.
Yeah, this has definitely been a lot of fun. I like this. We should definitely keep it up.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna stop anytime soon. Maybe we'll mix things up. I won't even be in the office next time. We'll all 3 be different locations. I mean, we got our office set up here. We've got the DJ podcaster in the middle there, and then we got Will said he's in the gamer setup. Like we've got all 3. Not all 3. There's so many other uses of Mevo, but 3 of the big ones right there. So, well, thank you all. Thanks, Will and Joseph, for jumping on today. Thanks everyone from tuning in. Be sure to come back on Tuesday. We'll be live again, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But until then, we will see you all. We'll see you all over the weekend. We'll see you after the weekend, Tuesday. So hope you enjoy your weekend. We'll see you all next time.